Today we'll delve into another distressing case that unfolded in 2012 during the Summer Olympics in London. At the center of this narrative is Felix Vero Sanchez, a promising Puerto Rican boxer whose brilliance at the time earned him the moniker Diamond and positioned him as one of his country's most anticipated athletes. Projections were high, envisioning future titles and gold medals for this talented and ambitious young man, leading many to believe he was destined for extraordinary success in the world of sports. In 2021, the boxer, once celebrated for a 2014 knockout endorsed by two-time Olympic champion Vasyl Lomachenko, found himself thrust into a dark spotlight of criminality. The narrative took a stark turn, delving into a teenage infatuation turned destructive addiction with tragic consequences. The protagonist, now facing a potential life sentence, stood accused in a case that shocked the world. Even in the face of incontrovertible evidence and confessions from an accomplice, the boxer vehemently denies guilt, maintaining an unwavering stance that adds an extra layer of intrigue to the unfolding saga. This unforeseen twist not only tarnishes the athlete's once glorious reputation, but also raises questions about the complexities of fame, personal demons, and the enduring impact of choices made in the throes of misguided passion. Born on May 19, 1993, in the vibrant city of San Juan, Puerto Rico, the trajectory of this once promising boxing star has taken an unexpected and somber turn, leaving a wake of shock and disbelief. Growing up in a large yet humble family, his early years were marked by a passion for sports, particularly baseball. However, at the age of 9, a pivotal moment reshaped his destiny. A playful altercation during a visit from a family friend and his son spiraled into a full-blown fight. While parents intervened to separate the boys, the athlete's father proposed an unconventional solution, suggesting that future confrontations should involve boxing gloves. This turning point led 9-year-old Felix to a local gym, where, as he later confessed, he fell head over heels for boxing during his very first training session. This serendipitous introduction set the stage for a journey that would see him rise through the ranks of the boxing world, capturing attention and admiration before the unforeseen twist that awaited him in 2021. By the age of 16, Felix had already established himself as a formidable force in the boxing world, clinching victory at the Pan American Junior Championships. A year later, he further solidified his prowess by securing his country's championship. At just 18, he represented Puerto Rico at the 2012 Olympic Games in London, showcasing his skills and determination by reaching the quarterfinals. This pivotal moment marked the commencement of his illustrious professional career in the boxing ring. Over the course of 29 fights, Felix demonstrated unparalleled skill and resilience, emerging victorious in 27 of them and garnering widespread recognition. In 2014, he achieved acclaim for delivering a breathtaking knockout against Sergio Villanueva, a performance that resonated throughout the boxing community. The subsequent year saw Felix securing his first championship belt, the WWBO Latino title, a feat he defended successfully 6 times over the following 2 years. Witnesses of his remarkable performances were convinced that Felix was destined to leave an indelible mark in the history of world boxing. As his star continued to rise, the unforeseen events of 2021 would cast a shadow over his once promising career, altering the narrative of a young athlete who had captured the imagination of fans worldwide. Now, transitioning to Keishla Rodriguez, born in San Juan in November 1993, she was given the full name Keishla Marlene Rodriguez Ortiz at birth. Her parents, Jose and Kayla Rodriguez, also had another daughter named Barris Nicole, and they raised Kayla's son, Jonathan, from her previous marriage. The contrast between the two stories sets the stage for a deeper exploration of the lives and trajectories of these individuals. Growing up as a sociable and open girl, Keishla Rodriguez excelled in school and harbored a passion for animals, aspiring to become a veterinarian. Her sister Barris wasn't just a sibling, but also her closest confidant, with whom she shared all her secrets and worries. Attending the same school as Felix Verdejo, their childhood acquaintance transformed into a romantic relationship during adolescence in 2011, adding a personal dimension to the narrative that would later take unexpected and tragic turns. In 2011, Rodriguez's parents went through a divorce, leading Kayla to move to relatives in Florida. Despite both sisters being adults and having established their own lives, they chose to stay in San Juan, maintaining close contact and sharing everything happening in their lives. At the age of 18, the promising boxer, already an Olympic Games participant, found himself in a relationship with a young schoolgirl and aspiring model, Elisa Maria Santiago. During that time, the girl was merely 14 years old and still attending school. However, she had already begun carefully crafting ambitious plans for her future alongside a renowned and globally acclaimed athlete. Surprisingly, Eliza's parents had no objections to this relationship. Felix, an appealing and exceptionally skilled sportsman, was constantly surrounded by adoring fans, basking in the radiant glow of fame. He frequently took advantage of opportunities for fleeting romantic flings on the side, despite being committed to Eliza. Additionally, he continued to meet with Keishla, Eliza's school friend and Barisi's sister, despite her mother, Keishla Rodriguez, disapproving of the affair. This situation presented a puzzling predicament. On one hand, Elisa saw herself as Felix's sole love and envisioned a future together, even planning for their wedding. On the other hand, Keishla knew of Felix's engagement but found it challenging to let go, as he refused to sever ties with her. Moreover, he held a significant place as her first great love, and deep down, the hopeful girl still wished to be his true love. In 2016, the boxer did indeed marry Eliza, who was nearly 19 years old at the time. By then, Eliza had gained fame as a well-known model, amassing tens of thousands of followers on social networks. Additionally, she had established her own beauty studio specializing in eyelash extensions. In August of the same year, just a few months after their wedding, the athlete experienced a severe car accident while rushing on his motorcycle. Admitted to the hospital in a serious condition, he suffered head injuries, bruises, and lacerations. Ricky Marquez, his trainer, genuinely feared that the talented boxer might go off the rails at the peak of his career. Contrary to these disappointing predictions, Felix demonstrated a remarkable and rapid recovery, defying the initial prognosis and getting back on his feet. Soon after returning to the ring in September 2019, the boxer shared a photo on his social media profile featuring Keishla, who was visibly pregnant. In the photo's caption, he expressed excitement about soon meeting his daddy's princess. A month later, he joyfully announced the birth of their daughter, naming her Miranda Vero Santiago. Publicly, he appeared as a loving husband, a caring father, and an exemplary family man. However, behind his public image, he continued to secretly meet with Keishla, unbeknownst to his wife. Eliza, suspecting her husband's infidelity, later admitted that she had her doubts. But each time he tearfully reassured her and promised to end the affair. Keishla attempted several times to end the painful relationship, but Felix wouldn't allow it, threatening repercussions if she sought companionship elsewhere. Felix warned Keishla that it would be detrimental to her and her chosen one. Keishla's unwavering love for Felix Verdejo endured, despite the tumultuous events that unfolded. While pursuing her passion for caring for animals and working at a veterinary center, colleagues lauded her as conscientious, hardworking, and highly responsible. Despite her dedication to her career, Keishla's heart remained entwined with Felix, the boxer she had loved since high school. In 2020, Eliza, Felix's wife, discovered his correspondence with several mistresses, including Keishla. This revelation ignited a confrontation, leading Eliza to kick Felix out of their home, threaten divorce, and prohibit him from seeing their daughter. Eliza's actions had repercussions on Felix's already declining career, burdened by unnecessary problems at a critical juncture. Though Felix ceased seeing Keishla initially, he struggled to release his grip on her life, attempting to exert control over almost every aspect. Despite the tumult, Keishla and Felix resumed their clandestine meetings after a few months. In April 2021, Keishla learned she was pregnant, confirming her fears with a rapid test from the drugstore. Initially confiding in her sister, who was aware of the complicated relationship, Keishla contemplated abortion. However, at 27, she was prepared to embrace motherhood even if it meant doing so alone. Days later, Keishla mustered the courage to share the news with Felix, hoping for acceptance. However, his reaction was far from positive. He became angry, insisting on a doctor's confirmation and emphasizing the need for an abortion if the pregnancy was verified. Despite Felix's demands and threats warning of potential damage to his reputation, Keishla stood firm in her decision, determined to navigate the challenges of single motherhood. This intricate tale of love, betrayal, and unexpected parenthood forms the backdrop to a narrative that would later take a dark and tragic turn, as the world would soon witness the shocking events that unfolded in the lives of Felix Verdejo and Keishla Rodriguez. Following Keishla's hospital visit, the pregnancy was officially confirmed with a certificate, a revelation that triggered Felix Verdejo's explosive reaction. In a fit of fury, he vehemently demanded that Keishla undergo an immediate abortion. Undeterred, she stood her ground with a categorical refusal, determined to proceed with the pregnancy. Unconvinced and skeptical, Felix took matters into his own hands, expressing disbelief and insisting on personally inspecting the medical certificate confirming the pregnancy. To verify Keishla's claims, Felix arranged a meeting with her in the evening at a crowded place, a familiar precaution to avoid drawing attention, as their relationship had always been shrouded in secrecy. This clandestine meeting underscored the complexity and tension surrounding their personal dilemma. Days before this pivotal encounter, Felix sought assistance from his old friend, Luis Antonio Cadiz, known for his connections in the criminal world and involvement in illegal drugs. In a brief conversation, Felix outlined the situation and requested Cadiz's help in navigating the challenges posed by his pregnant mistress. This ominous alliance with someone linked to the criminal underworld foreshadowed the dark and tragic events that would unfold in the subsequent chapters of this unsettling narrative. Luis, previously having had encounters with the police, was initially frightened by the prospect of prison. However, Felix, persistent and confident, assured him that everything would proceed smoothly with no police involvement. In addition, Felix promised him a substantial cash reward, and Luis, with the support of an accomplice, agreed to help. After Felix's contact, Keishla received a message setting a meeting for the evening of April 29th to confirm her pregnancy and discuss their next steps. Despite her reservations, Keishla clung to hope that Felix would accept their child and not insist on an abortion. Filled with concern, she confided every detail to her sister, who in turn shared the troubling news with their mother. Fearful for Keishla's safety, they implored her to reconsider attending the ominous meeting, fully aware of the threats made by Felix. Despite the collective efforts of her sister and mother to dissuade her, Keishla, perhaps driven by a blend of hope and a desire to salvage their relationship, remained resolute in her decision to face Felix that evening, setting the stage for a tragic confrontation that would have lasting repercussions. At the agreed-upon time, armed with a doctor's note, Keishla Rodriguez arrived in her Kia Forte, while Felix Verdejo drove in his pickup truck, concealing Luis in the back. Keishla entered Felix's car, presenting the test results. Despite Felix once again broaching the topic of terminating the pregnancy, Keishla tearfully refused, standing her ground. The emotional confrontation between the couple escalated into a vehement quarrel, marked by passionate exchanges and raised voices, as the weight of their differing desires and the impending consequences hung heavily in the air. In a shocking turn of events, Felix violently struck Keishla in the head with his fist, causing her to lose consciousness instantly. Exploiting her vulnerable state, Felix retrieved a syringe containing a substantial dose of illegal substances, discreetly stashed in the car's glove compartment at Luis's behest. He callously injected Keishla with the harmful substance. With the assistance of his accomplice, they carried the unconscious Keishla to the back of the car, where pre-prepared pieces of wire and a concrete block awaited, ominously foreshadowing the unfolding of a heinous and tragic act. The men bound Keishla, affixed the load, and covered her with a tarp to conceal the horrifying scene from accidental onlookers. After this, Felix returned to the pickup truck, while his accomplice took control of Keishla's vehicle. Together they drove to the bridge over the San Jose Lagoon, a virtually deserted area at night. Confirming that no one could witness their actions, the men callously threw Keishla, still alive, into the water. Subsequently, they decided to fire a few test shots in pursuit, utilizing the firearms they had brought with them, eliminating any chance of survival for the victim. With the horrifying act concluded, each perpetrator went their separate ways. Concerns arose when Keishla's co-workers noticed her absence at the Veterinary Medicine and Aesthetics Center the following day. Known for her responsibility, it was unusual for Keishla not to show up without prior notice. As she didn't answer the phone, the decision was made to contact her sister to unravel the mystery of her whereabouts. After numerous unsuccessful attempts to reach her sister, Baris decided to visit her house. Despite receiving no response at the door, Baris, equipped with a spare key, entered without difficulty. To her dismay, she was greeted only by hungry animals that hadn't been fed for nearly 24 hours. Baris, now in a state of panic, realized that something terrible or irreparable may have befallen Keishla. Without delay, Barise, overcome with concern, contacted her mother, divulging all the chilling details of the unfolding tragedy. In a swift and responsible move, she reported her suspicions and fears about her sister's safety to the police, hoping for intervention. Seeking clarity, Boris confronted Felix over the phone, only to be met with denial. He insisted that he had spent the previous evening and night at home with his family and vehemently denied any involvement in the reported meeting. Faced with these conflicting statements, Boris's distress deepened, realizing the gravity of the situation and the urgent need for swift action to ensure her sister's well-being. As the alarming situation escalated, the mother of the missing girl hastily boarded the first flight from Florida to San Juan, her heart gripped with anxiety and dread. Fearing the worst, she considered the unsettling possibility that Felix might have taken her daughter to a private clinic, arranging for an abortion without her consent. The unfolding events were deeply troubling for the entire family, and Keishla, the concerned mother, couldn't bear the thought that Keishla might no longer be alive. The family's initial step was to question Keishla's neighbors and co-workers, hoping for any shred of information that could lead to her whereabouts. Unfortunately, those interviewed observed nothing suspicious and couldn't contribute any valuable insights to the investigation. Concurrently, messages about Keishla's disappearance were disseminated on popular social networks, urging anyone with information about her fate or current location to come forward. The case swiftly gained widespread attention, especially when it became public knowledge that the missing girl had been in a long-term relationship with a renowned athlete and was expecting his child. The public outcry and media attention heightened the urgency of the search, intensifying the collective hope that Keishla Rodriguez would be found safe and sound. Reporters eagerly lined up for interviews with any of Keishla's family members, who openly voiced their suspicions, pointing fingers at Felix as a potential perpetrator in the unsettling incident. On April 30th, a significant development emerged when Keishla's abandoned car was discovered on the east side of the city. Inside the vehicle were her documents and personal belongings, yet the absence of signs of struggle in the car's interior offered a faint glimmer of hope for finding its owner alive. The discovery intensified public concern and fueled media speculation about the mysterious circumstances surrounding Keishla Rodriguez's disappearance, adding another layer of complexity to an already deeply distressing and high-profile case. By May 1st, a passerby walking on the bridge over the lagoon noticed an unusual shape resembling a human body in the shallow water. The individual promptly reported this discovery to the police, who soon recovered the body of a young woman from the water, presumably the same person the entire city had been searching for. The unfolding events were marked by anguish and despair for Keishla's family and the community at large. For several days, members of the Rodriguez family who had arrived to identify the body clung to the hope that it wasn't Keishla. Unfortunately, their hopes were shattered as the body, having been in the water for several days, had undergone significant changes. However, the girl was promptly identified by a distinctive tattoo on her arm. As news of the gruesome discovery of Keishla Rodriguez's abandoned car reached the press, the city's residents were incensed and spontaneously took to the streets, demanding justice and punishment for those responsible. On the same day, Felix Vero was detained and brought to the police station for questioning. The athlete vehemently denied any involvement in Keishla's disappearance, asserting that on the fateful night, he was at home with his family. However, lacking concrete evidence to charge him, Felix was released on his own recognizance, further intensifying public outrage and frustration. The situation remained fluid, with the community grappling with a sense of injustice and the distressing reality that justice for Keishla's disappearance might prove elusive. A crucial witness emerged in the form of the athlete's legal wife, who, during the initial interrogation, admitted awareness of her husband's affair with Keishla. However, she claimed to have learned about her rival's pregnancy for the first time during the investigation. Moreover, she did not confirm Felix's alibi, stating that he was not at home on the night of the murder. Investigators, determined to corroborate evidence, meticulously scrutinized traffic surveillance footage along the route to the bridge from which Keishla was thrown. Their examination unveiled a disturbing revelation. Felix Vero's pickup truck and the victim's car were captured traveling in tandem. Notably, Keishla's Kia Forte wasn't operated by its owner. In a critical development, on the same day, the boxer's car was seized for examination. This forensic analysis exposed a grim detail. Some of the deceased victim's hair was found embedded in the body of Felix's vehicle, providing a crucial piece of evidence that would significantly impact the ongoing investigation into the tragic incident. Luis, the accomplice in this horrifying incident, took the initiative to surrender to the police, offering to divulge the entire truth in exchange for a reduced sentence. In contrast, despite being taken into custody, Felix Vero vehemently refused to cooperate with the investigation, maintaining a stoic silence in response to questioning and staunchly asserting his innocence. Vero faced charges of carjacking, kidnapping, premeditated murder, and the murder of an unborn child. The collective weight of these crimes could have led to the death penalty, but the deceased's relatives consistently advocated for a life sentence, wanting the perpetrator to endure captivity for the remainder of his life. The trial faced repeated delays due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, but in the spring of 2021, it proceeded in virtual mode. Upon a thorough examination of the evidence, the court determined that the heinous crime against Keishla Rodriguez was committed by a group of individuals through premeditated conspiracy, displaying particular cruelty towards a pregnant woman. The crucial reconstruction of the night's events and the grim details of the crime were primarily elucidated through Luis's testimony, who willingly admitted his guilt. Luis acknowledged his role in procuring the drug for injection, as well as bringing the wire and concrete block to dispose of the victim's body. In a revealing interview, Elisa Santiago disclosed experiencing a harrowing ordeal, receiving anonymous calls and messages laden with death threats targeting both her and her young daughter, Miranda. While suspicions naturally arose about the possibility of Elisa's involvement in organizing the crime, no concrete evidence emerged to support such claims. By the summer of 2023, the culmination of a thorough legal process unfolded as the jury, having meticulously examined all evidence and heard witness testimonies, was ready to declare the final verdict. Felix Vero and his accomplice, Luis Cadiz, were found guilty on each of the charges leveled against them. This verdict marked a significant moment in the pursuit of justice for Keishla Rodriguez, bringing closure to a tragic chapter that had profoundly impacted the lives of those involved and the wider community that had followed the case with bated breath. Despite the guilty verdict, the sentencing for Felix Vero and his accomplice, Luis Cadiz, remains pending, and the next court hearing is scheduled for mid-November 2023. The prevailing likelihood suggests that both individuals implicated in the deaths of Keishla Rodriguez and her unborn child will be sentenced to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole. As the legal proceedings continue to unfold, there is a gradual sense of closure surrounding the tragic events that transpired. We appreciate your viewership, and please stay tuned for more updates on this channel as we explore additional gripping and haunting cases, keeping you informed on developments in the world of criminal justice.